Welcome to the Botany Bistro, where we're serving up bite-sized botany for you to munch on as you savor the science of plants. My name's Mary, and I'll be your botanist today. Our menu includes an exploration of plants in the Fagaceae family. I am very excited to bring you this exploration today. This plant family really makes a huge impact in our woods. I live very close to a forest called Mount Airy in the Cincinnati region, and this temperate deciduous forest has amazing members of the Fagaceae, including the one right behind me. This tree gives me pause every time we take this trail. Lovingly named Grandmother Oak by the local Little Schoolhouse in the Woods, which is a nature preschool that takes their students here on walks. This tree wants me to say hello, give her a hug, or a high five. How are you today, Grandmother Oak? The Fagaceae family includes 1,000 species across 8 different genera. These species can be found all over the world. Most plants in the Fagaceae family have simple leaves, which means that they have one leaflet attached to a petiole that attaches to the branch. These leaves could be lobed or they could be smooth, so there's quite a bit of variation. Also, these trees tend to be monoecious, which means that they have both male and female flowers on the same plant. These flowers are not your typical flowers that you might think of with petals. On the bistro, we've discussed tepals, which is also one of the aspects of flowers of plants in the Fagaceae. They also have these very interesting inflorescences, which is a group of flowers all together. These are called catkins for the male flowers, and they can either be kind of hanging pendulous or they could be upright. As far as economic importance and what we are looking for ecosystem services, the flowers don't really steal the show. It is the fruit. These nuts are quite tasty, providing many benefits to our local wildlife and for humans alike. We'll talk a little bit later how you can enjoy some of these delicious fruits. I've lived in a handful of different states and have seen oaks in all of them. One of the most interesting oaks I actually saw in southern Florida, and coming from Ohio, it really was like coming home to see an oak tree in a different ecosystem. There are around 900 different species of oaks, 50 in the United States. The leaf diversity is very interesting as well. You'll see oaks with points, rounded lobes, you'll see entire leaves, some with little serrations or dentations. Oaks really got creative when they were thinking about how their leaves were designed. No other species provides more habitat services than oaks, and really are keystone species within their environment. Scientists are still trying to figure out why oaks tend to get hit by lightning more often than other trees. One hypothesis is that they store quite a bit of water within their trunks. Another could be that they tend to be the tallest trees in their habitats. One interesting interaction between a critter and oak trees includes wasps. Wasps will go into an area where acorns are developing, and then they will actually insert their eggs, which creates a gall growth on the oak tree. These galls were collected and ground up, and then different ingredients were added to them to create ink. It was a surprising fact to me to find out that most of the texts that were written in early times were written using oak gall ink. We're talking about the Magna Carta, we're talking about letters, we're talking about all sorts of different stuff. So if you're interested in learning more about oak gall ink, definitely take a look at that. That is pretty impressive. A tree that can give us not only edible food, but also shade, comfort, ecosystem services, and writing ink. Who knew? If you're considering planting an oak, don't forget about the opportunities that critters have when they are housed in the leaf litter. If you are always collecting your leaf litter, you're actually taking away an important ecosystem service from this tree. We like to leave leaf litter around our gardens at the Civic Garden Center. The woods also doesn't clean up its leaves, and so that provides a lot of habitat for critters to survive and overwinter. While there are a great many wonderful things about oaks, we do want to think about a couple of other members of the Fagaceae on the bistro today, and one of them is chestnut. These forests used to be filled with chestnut trees. Unfortunately, a blight came into the forests and started killing all of these mature trees. There are currently no mature American chestnuts left in our forests. This tree was used largely for construction, and the wood was very valuable as lumber. Researchers are working hard on hybrid species with different types of chestnuts so that we can reintroduce these species into our landscape. Young chestnuts will grow and develop up to a certain age, and then they also catch the blight and they will succumb to it. Functionally, this species is thought to be extinct, but it was once a major player in our forests. The last major group of plants that we'll talk about are beeches. And that's actually where this plant family gets its name. It's Latin root. Beech trees are those that have the very smooth bark, which unfortunately makes them the target of vandalism. One of the earliest recordings of vandalism on a beech tree was actually from Daniel Boone saying that he killed a bear. So there you go. Thanks, Daniel Boone. Now everybody's drawing on beech trees. This actually can damage the tree, so please don't carve your name into the beech tree trunk. At the Civic Garden Center, we have some unique beech tree species. One of the most colorful is the tricolor beech, with these very vibrant pink, maroon, burgundy leaves. Another way that I can identify beech trees is that they tend to hold on to their leaves throughout the dormant season. In the wintertime, they'll have these papery little leaves hanging off of them. They don't drop their leaves until they actually start new growth in the spring. And so it's an interesting strategy. Many trees drop their leaves later in the fall season versus the beech tree concept that drops their leaves just before growing season. So the next time you're in a forest in the off season when most of the leaves are off the trees, you might be able to spot beeches by the fact that they're holding onto their leaves and they have that really smooth bark. What can these trees do for you? Well, let's think about all of the different services that they provide. This tree is providing wonderful shade, holds moisture, and it's a wonderful habitat for wildlife. I can also collect the acorns from this beautiful oak tree, and I could grind them up to make acorn flour. If you haven't made anything with acorn flour, I think it's about time you gave it a try. Acorns from white oak species tend to be less tannic, and so those are more preferred than acorns from red oak species. But go ahead and do your foraging, find what you can. You'll want to grind up those acorns and then rinse that flour a few times to try to get a little bit more of that bitterness out. Once you have the hang of it, you can use this flour for muffins, biscuits, cakes. It's quite delicious. Beech nuts are also a very tasty treat that you can enjoy straight off the tree. You've got to do a little cracking to get the husk off, but once you get through it, it is quite yummy. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire might be a common tune to a song that we all hum around the holidays, but the reality is that many of us probably actually don't do that tradition. So it might be fun to do a little bit of research, find out about some hybrid chestnuts that you might have access to, and do some roasting. Tell me how those chestnuts work out. Many of these tree species produce fruits that cannot be seed banked because of the high amount of water content in their seeds. So it's really important that we continue to plant these species for many generations to come so that we can protect the biodiversity and help all of the wildlife. Before I sign off, I just really want to say thank you to this wonderful oak tree. I hope we will enjoy her presence for many years to come, and I'll keep giving her hugs along the way. Thank you for joining us on the Botany Bistro today. Stay tuned for more Bistro to Go. Thank you, tree.